It is January 15th, 2026, and I'm going to open this meeting of the Pacific Grove Unified School District Board of Education with our call to order and our land acknowledgement. As we begin this meeting, it's important to pay respect to and acknowledge that we are on the traditional land of the Ohlone, Costanoan, and Esselen people, and additionally pay respect to elders both past and present. Roll call, please, Dr. Adams.
President McNary.
Here.
Clerk Shamas.
Here.
Trustee Dr. Hazen.
Here.
Trustee Otmar. And Trustee Rex.
Here.
Thank you. All 5 trustees present. We can now move on to the adoption of the agenda, item D on our agenda. And I don't believe we have any changes or additions. Okay.
Correct. No changes or additions. Yes.
Thank you. So the agenda is the same as presented. Is there any public comment on the adoption of the agenda? Seeing none. Board, any discussion on the adoption of the agenda? No changes.
My apologies. There was one item we were going to pull. I am so sorry.
Okay.
Yes. And as on consent, it's item O. It's the MOU for CSEA, state preschool clerical hours. We'll be bringing that forward to the February meeting. My apologies.
That was item O. Okay, so
I'm so sorry.
we will be removing item O from pulling it from this evening's consent agenda, and that will be coming back at a future date. So with that change, board, can I get a motion to adopt the agenda?
One more suggestion. This
Yes.
is totally okay to say no, but do we want to, and sometimes we've done the resolution first under action. Do we want to get the resolution as the first interaction discussion before we get to the SARC, or that's the proposed change, but I don't feel strongly, so just want to throw it out there.
I appreciate it. Does anybody else want to weigh in on that proposed change? I support that. Okay, I'm fine with that change. So we'll just switch and order the items A and B on action. So action item A will be resolution number 1176, and action item B will be the school accountability report cards. Thank you for the suggestion. Okay. Can I get a motion?
I was so moved with that switch of item B and A to
Okay.
adopt the agenda.
Motion made by Dr. Hazen. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Second by Trustee Wax. We don't have to do a roll call this evening. We're all here in person. Okay.
Yes.
Dr. Hudson.
Yay.
So am I all in favor? Aye. Okay. Any noes? Okay, motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Next up on our agenda is the closed session. I'll identify the topics for this evening. As usual, we have negotiations with item A, collective bargaining session planning and prep with the PGTA for school year 2025-26. Item B, negotiations, collective bargaining session planning and preparation with the CSEA for 2025-26. And item C, public employee discipline, dismissal, release, leave complaint, government code section 54957. Are there any public comments on closed session topics? No one in the room and no one online. With that, we will adjourn to closed session. Okay. Ready? Thanks. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us back at our Pacific Grove Unified School District Board meeting. This is our first meeting together for 2026. So Happy New Year to everyone, and really looking forward to the work we're going to do this year and what we'll accomplish as a board and a district for our students and families in our community. So with that, I will now report out of closed section, the actions that were taken with regard to item A, negotiations with PGTA for 2025-26. Information was received. For item B, negotiations with CSEA for 2025-26. There was no update. And for item C, public employee dismissal, discipline release leave complaint under Government Code Section 54957, Subdivision B, information was received. And the next item on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Clerk Shamas, would you lead us in the pledge this evening? Thank you. This evening, we have a presentation from Pacific Grove Middle School, and I will turn it over to Dr. Adamson to introduce this item.
Thank you, President Mangary. Well, the absolute favorite part of our meetings is anytime we get to hear from our students. And what we have added since last year is starting each meeting with something that highlights a program at one of our school sites. And tonight, we are fortunate to be hearing from our middle school students. And so I'm going to invite Principal Roach to the front to give a little bit of information on what we're about to do engaged in. So thank you, Principal Roach.
Good evening, trustees. I am Sean Roach. I'm the proud principal of Pacific Grove Middle School, and I am joined by some of our amazing international students this evening and their lovely families that are joining us this evening. When we found out that we had a board presentation kicking off 2026, I was having a little bit of a struggle as to what to highlight. And our wonderful registrar, Miss Luciana Morgan, in the back came up with a brilliant idea. Because she is the one that welcomes families, but also kind of gets everything ready for families to leave us. And one of those crews that do that on an annual basis are our international students. And we are always so happy to welcome them to us. And we are always so incredibly sad when they leave us. And so Miss Luciana, I just took that idea and ran with it, along with Ms. Jenez, who is our academic counselor, to help our students today. So our students are going to have little messages for you on various prompts. They are going to speak in their home language first, and then they're going to speak English second. We might not have one student here this evening. I will read his message to you in English, but I am not even going to try to do Russian tonight. So just to let you guys know. And actually, we had part of the slideshow was the culture of we in all the languages that were represented here this evening. And so this is who we are. We are better for having these students. We fall in love with them when they come to us, and it breaks our heart when they leave us. So without further ado, Oscar, come on up.
Jag känner att jag är till på PGMS när jag är med mina vänner. Jag har väldigt snälla vänner. Många personer på PG är snälla på PGMS. I feel like I belong at PGMS when I'm with my friends. I have really nice friends. A lot of people are really nice at PGMS.
Thank you, Oscar.
Одна річ, яку я принесла до підйому. Одна річ, яку я принесла до PGMS, це клуб фанатів Гаррі Поттера. Якщо до PGMS прийде новий студент, я скажу йому, що тут він завжди знайде собі друзів. Спілкуватися більше, ніж одною мовою, дає мені почуватися круто. One student I bring to PGMS is Harry Potter Club. If a new student come to PGMS, I would tell them that it's nothing to be scared because people are really kind here. Speaking more than one language makes me feel really special.
Thank you, sir.
내가 PGMS에 가져다주는 한 가지 장점은 예비 수업에서 한국어를 말하고 포트 선생님을 웃게 만드는 것이다. 그리고 나는 정말 친구들을 사귀었다. One thread I bring to PGMS is speaking Korean in ELD class and make Mrs. Fruit loud, and I made really kind friends. 저희 한국 학교는 스케줄이 매일 달랐지만 PGMS는 스케줄이 같아서 놀랐습니다. 또 PGMS 사람들의 친절함에 놀랐습니다. Hello, my name is Jerk and Korean, my school schedule is different every day, so I was surprised that PGMS has the same schedule every day. I was also surprised by how kind everyone at PGMS. Thank you. Parlare più di una lingua mi fa sentire speciale perché alcune persone non parlano più di una ed è difficile imparare un'altra lingua. La parte più bella è poter scegliere di parlare un'altra lingua, conoscere la storia e le tradizioni di un altro paese e poter scegliere ci fa sentire liberi. Speaking more than one language makes me feel special because most people might not speak more than one, and it is hard to learn another language. The best part is being able to choose to speak another language, knowing the history and the traditions of another country, and being able to choose makes me feel free.
اسمي عبود وناس إسرائيلي وناس فلسطينيين من نقاط أماتي مفهومة لبرجالة PGMS هاي الأطوال ألوهي من عمر علماء في ثقافتي والألجا أعرف بها ذكرت في بعد وجه أربعة من لغات مشكلة مت أربعة وش منعي
Sounds good to me.
Mi escuela en México era muy chiquita, tenía solamente 6 salones. Yo siento que pertenezco a PGLS cuando recibo ayuda siempre que necesito. Me siento feliz por hablar otro idioma porque puedo ayudar a otros niños. My school in Mexico was very small. It only had 6 classrooms. When I first arrived at PGMS, I noticed everyone's kindness. I feel like I belong at PGMS because I always receive help when I need it. I feel happy to speak another language so I can help other students. Kailan ba ang naging nasastem maazaban sonsum. Ayakshagari ba pijama somat. ما با امیدم که صبر داشته باش یاد گرفتن وقت میگیره و کمک همیشه است. Hello everyone, my name is Masa and I'm from Afghanistan. If a new student came to PGMS, I would tell them to be patient with themselves. Learning takes time and help is always available here. Konnichiwa, watashi no namae wa Suzuki Miya desu. Watashi wa 日本人とアメリカのハーフです。東京に生まれました。アメリカに来た後、日本語学校を通いました。PG に来た時、先生、生徒、みんなが優しく迎えてくれました。それで友達ができました。日本の中学校はとても厳しくて、生徒たちはルールを守らないといけません。PGMS で先生は生徒たちの意見を聞いてくれます。PG に来て自分の自信を持てるようになりました。ありがとうございました。 Hi, my name is Mia Suzuki. I'm an eighth grader at PG Middle. I'm Japanese American and I was born in Tokyo. After I moved to America, I attended Japanese Saturday school. When I came to PG Middle, teachers, students, everyone was kind and welcoming, in which I was able to make friends. Middle school is different there because teachers are very strict and students must obey all rules. In PG Middle, teachers are very kind and open to listen to students' opinions. Coming to PG Middle made me feel more independent and confident with myself. Thank you.
Zach, do you want to come up? Oh, I love your shirt.
Я Лев Замысельский. Когда я впервые попросил в PGMS, я узнал, что рабочие в этой школе, они очень им важно студентов комфорт и их учеба. И я чувствую, и мне очень нравится, как я чувствую, как я belong в PGMS, когда я говорю staff и когда я иду в клубы, когда они provide на ланч. Я очень thankful, что я очень благодарный, что staff в этой школе, очень учительницы в этой школе очень них help. Okay, I didn't practice this.
Помогает.
Да, они помогают мне чувствовать, как я belong.
Do you have any?
Yeah. When I first arrived at PGMS, I noticed the staff and teachers care about their students' comfort and education. I feel like I belong at PGMS when I talk to the staff or go to one of many of their clubs that they offer during lunch. I'm thankful for the kind staff and teachers of the school. They help me feel like I belong and that I matter.
Thank you. I would have been scared to death just to come and speak my native language in front of y'all. But the fact that these students have come to a different country, quickly learned, assimilated, and absolutely made us better for having them. I'm hugely jealous of their bilingual. I love language personally, and they do such a wonderful job. And you can see there's various levels in what they're doing, and that is part of us as a school district to teach them as much as we possibly can, but also learn from them as much as we possibly can. So, families, I appreciate bringing your kids. I appreciate having your kids at PGMS. Kids, you know I love you guys, and it's super awesome to have you with us. So please give a very, very warm round of applause to our wonderful international students at PG Middle.
Thank you for that, Principal Roach, and thank you to our middle school students, to each of you for being here this evening. I agree. I feel so humbled as I hear each of you, reading and with the articulation and the accents that it's absolutely beautiful. As I was listening to the 10 of you, there was a few things that stood out that I just was making notes of, and I love what you were sharing. And I'm going to share and just point out a few things that, just as superintendent of this amazing district, how proud it makes me to feel that this is how you felt and how the other students and staff have made you feel but that you belong here at PG Middle School in this particular case. One of you talked about what a gift it is to be able to choose, right? That's so true. A couple of you talked about how the kindness of other students made you feel that you belong. And that makes me, just feel so proud that you felt that kindness from students and from staff. It makes me feel special. And I agree, speaking another language, that is absolutely how you should all feel. That is something that not many people are able to do. And you should be so proud of that. It is a gift. Our last speaker talked about the fact that it makes you feel that not that only that you belong, but that you matter. That is so powerful. And then one of you mentioned that learning takes time, and that there's always help, though, to help you along with the learning. And that again tells me that you feel the sense of that help and support from your teachers. So I would just like to, again, on behalf of everyone, on behalf of the board here this evening, to thank you for sharing with us your gift. And I'd like to present each of you with a certificate. And once you come up to receive your certificate, I'm going to invite you to the front, and we're all going to come around from behind the dais and take a photo with all of you. Does that sound good? To our parents and families who are with us, thank you for sharing your incredible students with us. And I hear Principal Roach's there's a level of just regret as he even thinks about just the short amount of time that your students are with us. So with you, but again, thank you for sharing those gifts. The certificate I'm going to give you is our Culture of We certificate, and specifically it says, for your emphasis in nurturing a culture of we and prioritizing our 3 core values of belonging, safety, and prosperity. And each one of you have shown us this evening how you are putting those actions and those core values into place and really serving as an example for all of us. And Principal Roach said it, that we learn from you. So thank you for helping us with that this evening. I'm going to call you up, and you may need some help with some of your last names, all right? Maybe even some of your first names, but I'm going to do my best. Mia Suzuki. Oscar Galnander Galinder. You're being kind. Zlatka Kansovich. Tell me how to say it correctly. I'm not saying it right. I'm like, come on up, Zlatka. Tell me. What's Zlatka Kansovich. Oh my gosh, I said it completely wrong. That is beautiful. Oh my goodness, I love it. Namjuli. I know I said that wrong as well, huh? Okay, beautiful. Thank you. Oh, I think
It's a late ad.
Oh, I'm so sorry. So what, remind me, what is your name? Jay, okay, and we're going to have a certificate for sure for you tomorrow, all right? I'll get that to you, Principal Roach. Alice Pingatore, is that okay? Oh my gosh, beautiful. Oh, Abdel Rahim. What?
All right.
Can you say a word? Yeah. Okay, oh my gosh, thank you. Genesis Quintero? Yeah. See, oh, that would be very kind. Masa Rashik. Oh. Okay, yeah. Oh. Levatur Zamuzinski. Oh. Let's give them a round of applause. I'm going to ask our trustees and Assistant Superintendent Joy and our student board representative to come along to the front to join us. And Lucilla is going to take a photo of us.
Big smiles.
Get out the room.
Maybe a couple students in the front. A little closer.
I can if I
Yes.
Jasmine and I come
Yes,
around
perfect.
on this side, maybe with that.
Yes, that's what they're coming from. There we go. We should put it on the floor and kind of. 1, 2, 3. Couple more. 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
Oh, I think that's good.
Okay, families, you're free to take documents. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Principal Roach, and thank you to your front office staff for the idea. And as well as for just having us all take notice of all of the beautiful cultures and languages at PGMS. I can say from personal experience, my 8th grade student befriended a Swedish student who just left in December, and there is a big push right now for summer in Sweden. At some point, because she's got a place to stay, but just such a neat experience to learn and spend time with and get to meet friends on FaceTime from another country. It's just really great. And I think something we don't notice enough about where we are and who we live with. So thank you to Dr. Adamson for always starting off our meeting, reminding us about why we're here. That was beautiful. The next item D, is School Board Member Recognition Month. And this is Dr. Adamson's item, I believe. Okay.
Thank you for that, President McNary. I wanted to take a few minutes just to recognize our trustees. Many of you may not know that this month is in fact Board Member Recognition Month. And so in honor of that, I just have a few things I would like to say to just recognize the incredible work that each of you do in serving in this role. It is one that I know takes a lot of sacrifice and time, a lot of time away from your families. And we are just incredibly grateful that you have chosen to step up and serve. So in honor of Board Member Recognition Month, as board members, each of you gives your time, your energy, your expertise always to ensure that our students, our staff, and our community are able to thrive. You make difficult decisions on a daily basis. You engage incredibly well with our community, and you guide our district with a focus always with what is best for students in mind, which is what I appreciate about each one of you most dearly. Your work, I have to say, and I hope you know, is essential in helping build and sustain our culture of we here at Pacific Grove Unified School District, where we work on, and you keep that at the forefront, on working on collaboration, trust, and building a shared purpose in everything that you do. Through your leadership, you help ensure our 3 core values of belonging, safety, and prosperity are not just words, but lived experiences for each of our students, our staff, and our families. Each of you, in the role that you play, you work to help create an environment where every single one of our students is able to feel welcomed. And that was incredibly obvious from the students before us. And I hope you take note of that and really, I think, understand and know your incredible role and the important role you play in making that happen. Ensuring that every one of our students also feels supported and empowered. The impact that you have had on our students and community is without doubt unquestionable. Your service sets the tone for our district. We talk about that all the time in our governance sessions, right? You model what we expect to see amongst our students, our staff, and our families. And I can honestly say, in being able to work so closely with each of you, that I know that is a priority for each of you. You take that incredibly seriously, and that is definitely evident. On a personal note, I honestly could not feel luckier to work with each one of you. I know that we have, there are districts across the state where that may not necessarily be the case of how things act out at the dais or any given board meeting. What I can honestly say about each of you is that you come to each meeting with the idea of that unity of purpose in mind and our governance protocols, and I appreciate that. And so on behalf of our administration, of our entire staff, of our entire community, I would just like to say thank you to each of you for serving in this important and critical role and for the important role that you play in allowing us to achieve our goals here at Pacific Grove Unified School District. Once again, in honor of School Board Appreciation Month, I would like to ask everyone here tonight to please join me in a round of applause for our board members. Thank you. And I know that they hate this, and I know that this is something that makes you feel so uncomfortable, but we don't say it enough. And I'm so pleased that CSB has taken that time to really identify a month for appreciation, because do all year long is appreciate others. This is our chance to do something for you. And a very small token at each of your seats is a mug or a cup with your names on, right? So hopefully you will use that and just use that as a reminder of the important work you do. So grateful for all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Adamson. Yes, and because it is uncomfortable to be recognized in that way, I am going to move on to Thank you. I'm going to move on to our communications portion of the evening. And our first item for communications is our student trustee comments. And this evening we have trustee Jasmine Booker with us. And so go ahead, you're up.
Hi, my name is Jasmine and I'm a student board rep at PGHS. We had a smooth transition from break into the new year. Some student schedules had to change. All winter sports have started league, so best of luck to all the winter sports teams. Winter ball is January 31st at Chautauqua Hall. Tickets are on sale now. This week we had mock interviews for all seniors. It was very successful and a great experience for all. Breaker Got Talent auditions are from January 27th to the 30th at lunch. And then at the community high school, students and staff are looking forward to their upcoming outdoor education trip to the Elkhorn Slough on Friday, January 23rd, 2026. During this field trip, students will have the opportunity to kayak around the natural habitat of the Moss Landing Preserve and gain a valuable science and environmental education. The CHS garden continues to flourish. Weekly educational lessons in collaboration with Me Earth are going great. Various lettuce types along with kale, chard, and assorted plants and flowers are growing fast. Thank you.
Thank you for that report. It was informative, and also for the community high garden, if anyone hasn't had a chance to check it out, it's worth it. It's a beautiful space and the work continues. Thank you, Trustee Booker. Next on our agenda is board member comments, written communications. I'll start with my written communications, and then if there's anything else other trustees have, please add them. I had a few shout outs. One was for the UPK team. Another was for our Dibbles team. Another was for Mr. Bradley and his Sphero lesson. Another was a thank you shout out to the maintenance operations and transportation team. And another was a California Public Records request for employee compensation report. I personally have also been receiving lots of communications from Community Human Services with regard to our search for a CEO for that organization. Does anyone else have any written comms to add? Dr. Hazen?
Yeah, I just received one email regarding traffic concerns in front of Robert Town.
Thank you. Noted.
I received one additional email about our discussion about cell phone policy from last meeting.
Thank you. Okay, for my board member comments, again, Happy New Year to all of us and looking forward to working and seeing what we can accomplish as a team and for all the students and keeping that in the forefront. I'm going to give a plug for Community Human Services Super Saturday, not Super Bowl, trademark issues. It's a fundraiser for that organization and what's being offered and to support Community Human Services, mental health, homelessness, and substance use programs. It's being put on by CHS and Gathering for Women as a partnership. $40 will get you a takeout meal for two, 16 ounces of clam chowder from the Grotto and Fish Hopper, all being donated, bread, salad, dessert, and there's going to be a drive-through at one of our to pick up on that Saturday at one of our shelters. So I'll be volunteering, passing out soup that day, which is going to be really fun. And orders have to be placed by the 30th of January. It's $40. So if anyone's interested in supporting this great organization, there's more information on the Community Human Services website. And the only other small thing was that I noted childcare is always challenging when we have breaks for people with young ones. And I appreciated seeing in Principal Brownfield's newsletter that the Pacific Grove City Rec program is hosting camps in February on the solo March break and on spring break. So thank you for sharing that information because it can be challenging. Those are my comments. Who would like to go next?
I'll go ahead and jump quickly. I don't have too much to add other than the thank you for welcome back. I hope other people don't feel like they've been run over by a freight train like I have. But I did attend a CSBA state budget webinar on the 12th of January. And just wanted to report back a few things that might be useful, for the board and the community. One very unfortunate thing about the budget is it's not going to have any TK or UPK funding for basic aid districts. And there was also a comment that, again, is not as directed at as us as a basic aid district, but a lot of concerns of how Prop 98 is not being met the way as it was intended when it was passed. And those that don't know, Prop 98 is a California constitutional amendment guaranteeing a minimum annual funding level for public K-12 schools and community colleges. Two other just notifications from that. There's State Action Week in March, which is an opportunity. It's a full day where we can, I think it's via Zoom, where we can participate and help let our representatives know about our concerns, and a coast to coast federal trip in April as well. With that, I will cede the mic.
I'll move quickly. Like Adamson said, some of you may not know that it was Board Appreciation Month, which how can you not have it at the first of your yearly alert? It's insane. And while, it is awkward to be recognized, I think the board and institutions are really important. And of late, I felt much more appreciation for such an institution. And going in line with the presentation from the PG Middle School, even if students are just visiting for a short time, or if they've come here because of war or educational opportunities, it is a real highlight that, and the fact that our superintendent is an immigrant. And I doubt too many of our board members or trustees are so many generations removed from immigrant parents. So I think it's just a real reminder that immigrants and a tapestry of cultures and backgrounds is what really makes America special. And yeah, that's all.
Thank you. Any comments from Trustee Shamas or Trustee Amar? You don't feel pressure. You don't have to. It's just our opportunity. Okay.
Oh, just two things. One, there's a lot of flu going around. So I was wondering if the schools are like going a little bit back to COVID cleanliness type of, where they had a lot of hand washing and spraying down to the desktops. It might be a good idea. I don't know if, we've already gone through that. So I'm sure things have relaxed a little bit, but this is a good time to maybe be aware of, because I have 3/4 of my grandchildren have the flu. So, yeah. And then the other thing, just to piggyback on what Mike says, especially this community is so fortunate to have internationals, neighbors that, a lot of places in the United States don't have, so growing up here, my father taught Arabic at the DLI, and so it was common for me to see a lot of international people. But also just this community has, because of the DLI, has that. It's really an advantage to be able to have friends that are from other countries, and you get to taste their cuisines. And I just remember my dad, he had a poker group called Rafjar, which was Russian, Arabic, French, Japanese, Albanian, and Romanian. These were the instructors that came to our house to play poker. So it was, and in the schools, like I went to the Catholic school here in PG, and when the Vietnam War was going on, we had, this huge influx of Vietnamese instructors that came. And so all their children, a lot of them were Catholic, and they came to the Catholic school. And I just remember the nuns telling us, like, okay, you guys, you're going to go out there on the playground, you're going to teach these kids how to speak English. And, and so we did as well as we could, but it was just such an interesting time. And so we are so lucky and I'm so glad that the middle school is, just highlighting that. And I think I heard my granddaughter who goes to middle school, and she said, that one of the girls was leaving and she was sad about it, so, and like you said, so we're lucky. We're just lucky to have that kind of influence for here. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda is your report, Superintendent Adamson.
Yes, thank you. Once again, Happy New Year to everyone. And my report, I've really tried to highlight and articulate it through our three core values of safety, belonging, and prosperity. Definitely was able to see all three of those core values on display at both our elementary school sites. Just the fact that we came back after the 2-week winter break, I was, number one, impressed in all my visits to our school sites how quickly our staff had students back on track, engaged in lessons, and all of them just seemed, for the most part, to be really excited about being back. So that was wonderful to see. At our elementary school sites, just getting back into their routines was number one. I think I was beyond impressed with how teachers were able to engage students from an early time on, and really ensure that their instruction continued to be aligned to standards. From fourth graders exploring ocean and environmental science through NBARI's new research vessel, of which I was able to be one of the lucky ones to receive some of the first shrunken cups, which was just a delight, to UPK students thriving during their first days at our temporary location at David Avenue. And again, just kudos to our staff there for just really making that such a smooth transition. In week 2 this week already, they are just thriving there, and that was just really neat to see, and didn't happen without a lot of work behind the scenes. So thank you. Also at Monterey Bay First Lego League Robotics Scrimmage, our elementary student teams from both Forest Grove and Robert Down were recognized for innovation, engineering excellence, and core values, including kindness, inclusivity, and collaboration. That's all part of that STEM robotics program. So that was wonderful to see. Moving on to Pacific Grove Middle School, I'm so proud to share that they were the recent proud recipients of the Bright Futures Bright Spots Award, specifically in the area of math. And that is, wow, that is not easy to come by. And again, this kudos to Principal Roach, AP Tavani, and staff for that focus on math in particular. So that was really just an outstanding recognition. Definitely aligns and focuses and shows the alignment and focus you've given to collaboration amongst your staff, particularly in the area of math. So well done. Let's see. PGMS also closed their first week back last week on a high note with their inaugural sports rally, which was led entirely by our student ASB leaders. Just an uplifting celebration of student voice, school pride, and community. Moving on to our high school students, prosperity is definitely what comes to mind there. They celebrated several achievements this past week that once again speak to how our staff are preparing our students to be college and career ready. I'm proud to share that PGHS earned a gold level school-wide commendation from the College Board based on AP participation and performance, with significant gains in college culture, credit, and college optimization, all increasing from the prior year significantly. So that was really exciting to see. And definitely, that's a recognition that reflects the dedication of our students, our teachers, and site leadership. I also want to acknowledge the tremendous turnout that we saw from our community at PGHS's Winter Art display last Friday night at the PGMS Public Library, showcasing our students' creativity and expression. And kudos there to our art teacher, Mr. Kelly. Lastly, regarding high school, I was very proud to be able to participate in the mock interviews yesterday. They had them 2 days in a row. I was just blown away by our students. Every senior this year for the first time actually got to participate. So kudos to Mr. Kent Leatham and then teacher Jessica Grogan, who really worked in preparing students for that. They came prepared, dressed to the nines, as you would want to see. And that was kind of neat because last week I happened to be in their classroom and they were talking about what to wear for the interview. And someone was saying, well, I don't have any nice, well, I have jeans. So just really kind of that whole sort of learning experience. But they were so articulate and really did a great job of showcasing their talents and skills. So just a great learning opportunity. And then finally, I just want to thank the board for your advocacy. I was able to be in attendance at MCOE's public hearing last night, where the board voted 6-1 to not approve the charter petition that was before them through Navigator Charter Schools. I was very well attended. We had almost 4 hours of public comment. And just again, thanks to to CSEA being present, our union labor partners, to really advocate for that. While it would not have impacted PGUSD, the ability to be there to stand in unison and solidarity with districts who would have been impacted by that was just a really uplifting and important experience. So really, I think that's it. Last thing, looking ahead to next week, PGMS is holding their part 2 of their Drug Awareness Assembly. So excited to be attending that. And thank you to Safety Director Martinez, who is working on really coordinating assemblies at all of our other schools as well, which will be happening in the coming weeks as well. So just an important topic there. So much to look forward to. I know, the next couple of weeks and months will be busy ones, but as long as we're maintaining and holding our students at the forefront of everything we do, we can achieve anything. So thank you, President McNary.
Thank you, Dr. Adamson. Safety report, Assistant Superintendent Jorn.
Thank you. It's just a brief update tonight. As a reminder for those joining us online, if you're a member of the PGUSD Safety Committee, that's being held this month on the 26th here in this room from 5 to 6:30. We'll have the agenda out the first part of next week for that safety committee. Just a quick update regarding facilities. We finalized the project over the winter break at Robert Down at the Pine Street School to fully enclose the front of Pine Avenue. Then there's some new fencing up there, and they were able to kind of save the arbor that existed behind that. Also related to that, with fencing in campuses, the middle school project on Fountain Avenue. We did the job walk 2 weeks ago. We should have the bidding completed, and that work should start sometime in February or March, depending on availability of material. And then lastly, at the high school, one of the projects that the board approved was the fencing of the backside of PG High School. That project is currently designed with our architects and going through Division of State Architect approval. That's it tonight.
Thank you. Those are all really great updates. I know the community asks often about fencing and what's going on with that. So important. Next, we have public comment. Individuals desiring to address the board. Public comment is open for any item of interest to the public that is within our jurisdiction. We'll take public comment on each specific action item on the agenda before action on that item. Any individual wishing to address the board on a specific agenda item are kindly asked to wait. The board will allow a reasonable time for public comment, and just please note that the board limits the the law, the Brown Act limits the board's ability to respond to any public comment. First up on our agenda will be item A, which is community member public comments on non-agenda items. And we have a 3-minute limit as usual for any and all public comments. Yes, sir. We see one in the room.
Good evening. Happy New Year. I'm Lyndon Tarver from the Monterey County branch NACP. I just like to say Happy New Year and I'm appreciative in the job that PGUSD, the direction you're going with inclusiveness, togetherness. And I also like to thank Dr. Addison for attending MC, the Monterey County Office of Education for the charter schools. Because we need to develop the schools we have here. Our superintendents, board members are working hard for the students. And what I told, what's the name of that group? Navigate north, south, or east away from Monterey County. And because you're doing a good job and you need to be recognized for it. And I just want to know that I'm very proud of each and every one of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comment. Next on our agenda, seeing no additional non-staff public comments, are PGUSD staff comments on non-agenda items. Okay, seeing no comments online or in the room, we will move on to our consent agenda. Items on our consent agenda, just as a reminder, are considered routine or may have been discussed at a previous meeting. There's no discussion on consent items prior to a vote. So if you do wish to discuss something or ask a question, that item can be pulled from the agenda. And then with that, we had discussed the removal of item O from the consent agenda. Other than that, we have items A through P without O before us today, board. And before our discussion, I will go out to public comment. Is there any public comment on the consent agenda? Okay, seeing no public comment, board, any discussion on the consent agenda this evening?
I would like to pull item J for discussion.
Item J is a contract for services with Thai is Fun. Is that the what item?
Yes.
Okay, and will we pull that and be placing it on action?
Action discussion.
Action discussion. And if you don't mind, I'm going to rework the agenda just a little bit under the action session. Okay, we'll go first with our action will now look like resolution 1176. We'll put your item as B, and then we'll move the school accountability report cards to item C. And if I accidentally miss it, Trustee Otmar, please let me know.
Okay.
Any other items from trustees?
Is it okay to not pull something, but just make a comment? Okay.
Briefly?
Okay. I don't want to disrupt the curriculum for this year, but the contract for Nearth for just the community high school, I brought this up last time. I wish that the program was further expanded or served more community or more students because I think it was worthwhile, but there are lots of places to landscape and add gardening beds on other campuses. And I think if anything, we could build it out to more students and provide that opportunity.
Happy to make a motion to approve consent agenda with the items J pulled.
Okay, we have a motion from Dr. Hazen. Is there a
Second.
And a second from trustee Wax. First, before all of our votes by the board, we'll go over to our student trustee advisory vote. So typically we answer by saying aye or no. So I will ask you, student trustee, are you in favor of approving the consent agenda?
Aye.
Right on. Okay, so board, we have a motion and a second and an aye from our student trustee vote. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda without item J?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Okay. That concludes consent, and we are on to the action discussion portion of our agenda. This evening, we will take up resolution number 1176 as item A, recognizing February 2026 as Black History Month. That item appears on page 228 of our packets. And Dr. Adamson, is this your item?
Thank you. Well, I am pleased to be introducing resolution number 1176 this evening, recognizing, as you've said, February 2026 as Black History Month. The resolution affirms our district's commitment to honoring the histories, contributions, resilience, and lived experiences of African Americans, an essential and inseparable part of the American history, of the American story. Black History Month was expanded by a month-long observance in 1976 to ensure space for deeper study, reflection, and celebration. In PGUSD, this work is not confined to a single month, however. It's embedded year-long through culturally responsive curriculum, inclusion, and school-wide practices that reflect the full breadth of our shared history. The resolution also directly aligns with our Cultural Proficiency Plan and LCAP Goal 4, all in the purposes of advancing our culture of we. It also reflects our core values of belonging, safety, and prosperity, by ensuring students see themselves reflected in their learning, that they feel safe engaging in meaningful dialogue, and are empowered through knowledge and understanding. I'd like to just share just a little bit of a highlight of some of the activities and things that will be taking place at each of our school sites over the month of February. And again, this, I would really say it's safe to say that a lot of these learnings are happening throughout the year, but in particular through the month of February. So let's see, starting with at our elementary sites, both of our schools will be featuring library and classroom displays. They will be holding guest speakers and daily highlights of influential African Americans in history. PGMS will be implementing school-wide advisory lessons. They intend to host presentations through the Village Project and engage students through Spirit Days and weekly Did You Know features. At PGHS, students are going to be exploring Black history and lived experiences through literature, ethnic studies, which, as you all know, is now a required course for all students to be taking in their freshman year, literal library exhibits, music, and primary source analysis. At both our alternative and adult programs, students will be participating through art, history, field experiences, and community engagement, ensuring learning opportunities extend across all subjects. So as you can see, I think these efforts are both thoughtfully and developed through the collaboration amongst the sites, through staff, but also in concert with our MCOE staff as well. All with the focus of ensuring that our students are receiving a high quality instruction that encourages critical thinking, empathy, and respectful dialogue. By adopting this resolution, the board reinforces our commitment to inclusive, equitable education and to fostering a strong sense of belonging for all students and families. At this time, I would like to invite our trustee, Dr. Hazen, to read the resolution for us.
I'd be honored. Whereas Black History Month is an annual celebration of achievements by African Americans and a time for recognizing their central role in United States history. And whereas the origins of Black History Month began in 1915, half a century after the 13th Amendment abolished slavery in the United States, when historian Carter G. Woodson and Minister Jesse E. Moreland founded the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History. And whereas since 1976, every U.S. president has officially designated the month of February as Black History Month, also known as African American History Month. And whereas when President Gerald Ford officially recognized Black History Month in 1976, he urged Americans to honor the accomplishments of Black Americans, including the contributions and legacy of activists and civil rights pioneers such as Frederick Douglass, Sojourner Truth, Marcus Garvey, Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, and Rosa Parks. And whereas the Pacific Grove Unified School District remains dedicated to the inclusion of diverse historical narratives that reflect the depth of the American experience. And whereas the governing board recognizes that 37% of our student population identifies as African American, and it is our priority to ensure these students see their heritage reflected and honored within our academic community. And whereas the governing board recognizes that integrating these essential historical truths into our educational program requirements and district goals is vital to fostering an inclusive environment for our community. And whereas our schools will implement activities that highlight the resilience and contributions of African Americans to the fields of science, art, and civil leadership. And whereas district staff will utilize professional research and analysis to provide accurate information to our students and the general public regarding these contributions. And whereas all related programs are designed to align with state educational codes and board policies to ensure high quality service to our community. And whereas the Pacific Grove Unified School District and its schools are committed to continuing the promotion of Black History Month and educating students about the significance of the month, not only in February, but year long, as well as about the accomplishments of African Americans. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the governing board of the Pacific Grove Unified School District hereby proclaims February 2026 as Black History Month and encourages all students and staff to participate in educational activities that honor this heritage. Be it further resolved that the Pacific Grove Unified School District Board of Education urges all community members to join us in recognizing and honoring the central role African Americans have played in history.
Thank you, Dr. Hazen and Dr. Adamson for your introductory remarks. Next, we will go out to public comment on this item, if there is any. And seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board for discussion.
Well, I'd just like to recognize that Gary Williams, who just passed away in November and was just one of, we had a few Black families that grew up here in Pacific Grove, and Gary Williams was one of them, and went to our schools and then became a kindergarten teacher that was astounding and so well represented just the goodness. And so I think it's so cool that we got that experience, and it's that he got to influence so many of our students. And then Helen Rucker died this year too, and she also was a local activist leader and also made a big difference in our community. And so I just think, I know there's others, there was plenty of others, but Gary is near and dear to my heart. And Helen was somebody that I think everyone kind of felt they knew. She spent a long time being prominent, so just good for us.
Thank you for sharing a bit of our history with us. Board, any other comments on this item before we move forward? I'm assuming with a motion to adopt the resolution. Okay. If there are, I was just going to throw a shout out for the MLK March on Monday. I realize it's MLK Day and we're in January, but we're talking about Black history. So 11 o'clock on the corner of Noche Buena and Obama Way, there's a gathering. There'll be booths and speakers, and it's just a really great experience to go and be a part of community and learn. and maybe even get out of our little PG bubble a little bit, because we are a bigger interconnected community. So I will throw a shout out for that, and there's plenty of information online if people are interested in attending and experiencing. And with that, I would be happy to make the motion to adopt resolution number 1176, recognizing February 2026 as Black History Month in Pacific Grove Unified School District.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made by President McNary, seconded by Dr. Hazen. Student trustee, your vote? Okay, student trustee vote in the affirmative. Board, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, aye. Motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Next up. Thank you for sharing, Trustee Shamas, as well. Next up, we are going to take on the item we pulled from consent. Item J, TIA's fund contract. It's on page 80 of our packet. And I will turn it over to you, Trustee Otmar.
Thank you very much. So I pulled this item because I just had questions about the menu that will be prepared. Typically in Thai food, there are a lot of nuts is a main ingredient in that, in Thai cooking. And I want to be sure that students that are attending that class are safe and that they're not bringing nuts onto campus, if there are students on campus that have that allergy, so that we are also adhering to our board policy about inclusion of all students. So just a question about the menu. If the menu is not available, which I don't know that it is.
Have menus as of this time. We're doing things sequentially. So we first want to make sure it passed. Then after passing, we want to start devising menus and stuff. And we're always aware of our student that does have peanut allergies. And so I am extremely confident that there are alternatives that can be used in cooking that don't involve those type of nuts and stuff. So
I did do a little bit of research and just sort of looked at her website. It looks like they're willing to, it sounds like they can accommodate, but I just wanted to be sure that if this is approved tonight, that it is with understanding that nuts wouldn't be brought onto campus out of respect for the student that does have a peanut allergy. I think it's important to represent and make sure that everyone has the opportunity to experience all the same things.
yes, we are definitely aware of that student. We make sure that we accommodate that student, and yeah, we can make that accommodation.
Perfect. Yeah, as long as that is assured, then I'm happy to pass this tonight, and I can make the motion whenever anyone's ready. Okay, I'd like to move to pass item J that was pulled from consent, which is contract for services with Thai is fun.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor made by Trustee Otmar.
I'll second.
And a second by Trustee Wax. Student trustee advisory vote. Aye. Thank you. And board, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank passes, or the motion carries. And thank you for your question. Thank you, Principal Roach, for your response. Next up on our action discussion agenda will be item now labeled C, which is School Accountability Report Cards, also known as the acronym SARC, because education loves acronyms.
Yes, we do.
Always learning. And this is going to be Dr. Hagquist. Thank you.
Good evening, trustees. Larry Hagquist, Executive Director of Educational Services, here to present the SARCs and to ask for your approval of the SARCs at the end of this brief presentation. What are the SARCs? They are the School Accountability Report Cards. And what do the SARCs do? They inform the public about our schools. They provide a measure of performance and progress that can be made available to parents, educators, and the public. The SARCs are really a snapshot of other presentations that I bring to the board throughout the year. Things like the LCAP, the SIPSAs, the state testing data, the Williams sufficiency of instructional materials. A lot of that information that is already made public is just merged together and presented on the SARCs. This is a picture of the webpage in our department that has SARC reports going back for several years. And if these SARC reports get approved, you will see the 24-25 SARC reports that are in the board packet on page 122, right here on the webpage as well at the very top. They need to be posted prior to February 1st. That's why I'm presenting them here tonight. How are the SARCs compiled? I just wanted to highlight that while it's a lot of pages in the board packet, I don't put that all together myself. It's really a team effort, and I wanted to highlight the effort of this team and really give shout outs to everybody involved, especially the site administrators who take care of the narrative portions of each one of the SARC reports. So they review and update those from year to year. The CBEDS, which is really California Basic Educational Data System, those CBEDS reports have to be presented every October, and that is kind of a combination of our ed tech department and human resources who presents staffing information. We have MOT that presents the FIT tests or the facility inspection tool. So Director Anderson and his team helps with the SARCs as well. And what we see in the SARC report is just, like I said, a snapshot of the much longer FIT tests as well. And also we have the PE staff that present the PFTs or the personal fitness test that is given every year to students that really assess students in 6 different areas. Actually, now it's 5. They got rid of the body composition requirement. And that's all part of the SARC. What's included in the SARCs, we have information that it's important to be reminded that the data is from 24-25 school year. And so this was from not this October's, but prior October information that was submitted to CBEDS. We have demographic data from each school. We have school achievement data, class size information, school safety information, dashboard metrics from 24-25, things like absenteeism, graduation rates, et cetera, staffing information, and salaries. And so I just wanted to ask that the board approve the 24-25 SARCs so that I can go ahead and post it on the website and send them off to CDE.
Thank you, Dr. Hadquist. After the presentation, we will go out to public comment, either in the room or online. There's a lot of information in this item, so it's understandable. Okay, no one for public comment on this item. I'll bring it back to the board. Is there anyone who has questions or comments for Dr. Hadquist before or for right now? Go ahead, Trustee Shamas.
So I think when I left, it was SARC, and before I came back, it's the LCAP. So my question is there replication between the two? And do you feel that eventually they might merge into one reporting thing or not?
I'm not going to make any predictions about that. I don't think that that they're going to merge into one, because we still have things like single plan for student or the school plan for student achievement, which you'll see much of this same information in those documents at the end of the year. And the LCAP is for sure not going away. And it really is a handy tool just to be there on the website. It merges some of that information and simplifies it a little bit because not everybody wants to read through the LCAP, which, is much longer and it's more site specific.
Yeah, no, it's excellent information. I mean, if anybody wants to know about a school, district, or a site, this is the place to go. And I mean, you can't really get much more information than that. So, thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Shamas. Board, any other comments or questions on this item? Okay, seeing none, Dr. Hagquist, when this item is approved, which I'm guessing that's where we're headed, where on the website can a member of the public find the SARC information?
There's actually a link under the curriculum that has the SARC reports.
Okay. Thank you. If there is no further discussion from the board, I'll be looking for a motion.
I'll move.
Okay, motion made on staff's recommendation. Second?
I'll second.
And a second from Trustee Shamas. We will go to our student trustee vote.
Aye.
Thank you. And board, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. And motion carries. All those opposed? No no's. Motion carries. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Hagquist.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the extra time to present as well. Next item on our agenda is our Williams District Uniform Complaints Quarterly Report. Dr. Adamson.
Thank you, President McNary. So yes, this is our quarterly report for all uniform complaints that are specifically Williams related. And just as a reminder what that entails, the 4 criteria are listed on the cover page. I'm proud to report that we have received no complaints, that this is a requirement that all districts do need to do and report out publicly on a quarterly basis. And as I said, we have not received any complaints, so that is the good news. The 4 areas are sufficient textbooks and instructional materials for each student. School facilities are clean, safe, and maintained in good repair. There are no teacher vacancies or misassignments, and parents, teachers, and the public know how to obtain our uniform complaint forms.
You, Dr. Adamson, this is something we have to submit quarterly, so we've all probably seen this on the board before. I'll go out to public comment on this item. No public comments on this item. Board, any discussion on the Williams Uniform Complaint Report? I'm guessing no? Okay. With that, I'd be happy to make a motion to approve the information in the Williams District Uniform Complaint Quarterly Report.
I'll second.
And a second on the motion from Dr. Hazen. Student trustee vote. Aye. Thank you. Board, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any noes? And the motion carries. I am actually going to propose just a quick break for 5 minutes before we get into our financials audit with Mr. Zielinski. So thank you all, and we will return no later than 7:50. Okay, we are gonna return from our break 1 minute later than planned. We are on to item D on our agenda, which is our 24-25 district financials audit report. And for those of you who would enjoy following along, it begins on page 234 of the packet. And Assistant Superintendent Jordan, this is your item.
Thank you, President McNary. So the district is required under state law every year to go through a financial and bond audit. Tonight, you will be receiving the financial audit for the year 24-25. The district will bring the bond audit forward at the February 5th meeting. So if there's any confusion in the background information, I apologize for that. The district's been working with Bailey for some time now. They're our audit firm. We have Ryan Zielinski here, who's a CPA and the senior manager for Bailey. And you'll see in the board packet that the district did receive an unmodified opinion for our audit of 24-25. We've been having an unmodified opinion for some time now, which is the best that you can ask for. Included in the packet, you'll see items B, C, D, and so on that outline any findings reported, notably that there were no state findings or federal award question cost. There were some state compliance findings and questions, question costs that Ryan Zielinski will go over with the board tonight and be available for any questions. So with that, I will hand it over to Ryan Zielinski. Good to have you.
Thank you. Well, good evening, members of the board, and Dr. Adamson and Josh, good to see you again. I always want to start, thank you for the district. An audit is an uncomfortable thing to go through. I've personally never gone through one, so I don't know how it is on that side, but on this side, it's great. But we really do. It's an all-year thing. We used to mainly do it 2 times a year, but it's just grown and grown and grown. So now we've expanded, not really expanded it, but we do it. We do it 3 times a year now. Generally, early in the year, we'll hit like the middle school, elementary, and high school. Generally, doing attendance stuff, some state compliance stuff there. So we go to the school sites. We go to the middle school and the high school every single year. So lucky them. But so we go to the sites, we go to the district office, and we work with a lot of people in the district, and everyone's always been very friendly to the auditors. So that's a good strategy, FYI. So thank you. So I have my phone. I usually bring it. And I was like, I'm going to try my phone, and I hate it. So I think I'm going to bring it next time. But I'm going to be looking at my phone. I'm not scrolling, I swear. So the structure of the audit is right after the table of contents. Page 1 is your independent auditor's report. As Josh said, this is unmodified opinion. It's the cleanest thing you can do. The only thing in this letter that is not usually there is the adoption of a new accounting standard. The Governmental Accounting Standards Board, GASB, they are one of the entities that kind of pushes stuff down that the districts have to follow, and in turn that we have to audit. So the last couple of years has been a lot of new GASBs coming out. It was wonderful with COVID and all those new things, but I think we're kind of away from that. So, but there is just the adoption of a new accounting standard that's not usually there, but it's not uncommon for it not to be there. It should be there. Right after that letter is your management representation or your management discussion and analysis. That starts on page 5. This is basically the cliff notes of the audit report. It is the only place in here where it will compare the prior year financials to the current year financials. It's about 10, 15 pages, and it's just a cliff notes. So that's generally the easiest read. Right after that, you'll start on page 15. That's when you get into the financial statements. I don't talk about the financial statements and numbers in them. I mainly just talk about the structure of them, but you're going to see 4 financials in there. You're going to see basically 2 balance sheets and 2 income statements. The first 2 is the statement of net position and the statement of activities. Those 2 financial statements basically include all of your general fund, building fund, all of that stuff combined into one, and then we bring in, with Josh's backup and all that stuff, we'll bring in capital assets, OPEB, pension, long-term debt, that kind of stuff. So that's really the only main difference between the statement of net position, and then after that you'll see like general fund, building fund, non-major. Really the only difference is those long-term items. Okay, there's reconciliation pages that will match them together, but the reconciliation page is just long-term items. After that, you'll probably go to the next page. Let's see. More review. Not that one. Sorry. I'm not going to do this again. All right. So after that, we'll skip most of the pages. We're going to go down to report page 62. All those pages in between are just the footnotes to the financials. It has more information. There's a couple required schedules in there. But on page 62, this is another thing. This is another footnote that might not usually be there, but it's okay. It is a restatement. One of the restatements was this year school districts had to implement GASB 101, which basically redefined and expanded the definition of a compensated absences. Long story short, all of your sick leave, a portion of that gets included or gets recognized as a long-term obligation now. So that's what that restatement is just bringing those liabilities onto the books at the beginning of the year. And then there's another one with a classification. It's just more information that the GASB is having us do. If a fund moves from like a major fund was presented by itself instead of in the aggregate, if it moves, then we have to display what it moved. It doesn't change any numbers. It just says, hey, this $1 million last year was as itself, and then this year is included in those aggregate funds, or vice versa. Okay, so then after, let me go on to the next footnote. Okay. So after that, we're going to jump down to page 96. And that's the summary of audited results. So at the letter at the beginning of the report, that's on your financials, right? Those numbers are materially correct based on our opinion. On page 96, the report page, we also give a report on the financial statements, how they prepare them, right? So if Josh's team misstated something by whatever and we had to post it, then that would impact that report. And then there's down after that is the federal awards, and then after that is your state compliance. As Josh said, there were no audit adjustments. It was unmodified. There were no federal compliance findings, and there was a couple state compliance findings. So right after that page would be if there were findings, we discuss them. So the first page, 97, that's the financial statements. There's no findings. Great. Page 98, federal compliance, no findings. Great. Page 99, this is going to be your state compliance findings. If there's questions, I can expand on it. But the first one was your ELOP program. It has to be offered to TK to grade 6. Grade 6 was not offered, so it was a compliance issue that we discovered. And then the next one was your unduplicated count. The students have to be classified as free and reduced. That goes to the state. Those classifications, they fund, or not fund, but they calculate how much you get on your concentration grant and your supplemental grants for your unduplicated pupil count. If what you submit to the state doesn't match your records, right? If they're free and reduced, but there's no application or they should be paid, right? That's a misclassification. So that's part of what the state has us look. There were a few students who were misclassified. So that was a state compliance finding there. And then after that is the summary of prior year findings. So the ones that from last year, there was a attendance accounting one. That one was implemented. There was an instructional minutes. The high school was short a couple minutes. That one was implemented. And then there was also an unduplicated one in the previous year. That one was not implemented this year. So it was a repeat. So with that, that's the gist of the audit report. So if anyone has any questions or anything, I'm available to answer.
Thank you for the presentation. Before we go to the board, I'm going to go out to public comment if there are any questions or comments from the public on our audit. Thank you. And it doesn't look like there are any board discussion. Any questions or comments on this item, Trustee Hazen?
Just a quick one. This could be either for our assistant superintendent or our auditor. Are there any costs associated with the ELOP change and the unduplicated? And
the ELOP one, yes, it is. I like to say it's a return of money that you did not spend on what you were supposed to spend it for, right? So it is a fiscal penalty, but really that money should have been, that program should have been offered. So yes, there was a fiscal penalty. I think it was
39,768.
Yeah, and on our end, on the accounting end, what the district does is we set this up as a liability for a reduced apportionment in the out year. There was also a penalty associated with the unduplicated pupil misclassification of around 11,765. Our district doesn't receive supplemental and concentration grants, so there's kind of a discussion about will that be a reduction to our base LCSF apportionment? Yet to be determined. That we had that once before. I think it was for misclassification, so we didn't see an adjustment in the next year to our base grant.
One just question on the ULOP, and sorry, I was getting a little.
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, this is great. Is there an opportunity? I mean, is something we could think about for grade 6? Like think with this. Okay,
it's implemented this year. So this is for 24-25. Yeah, so we do offer to 6th grade this year. Okay, that's
Good. I haven't started the audit yet.
There you go. Thank you guys both for the answers. That was my only one.
Okay.
I just have the question on, we talked about the $140,000 one. So this is reflected here, but, and I'm trying to remember how you told us it was not really going to impact us, or.
that was, I believe, in the prior audit year related to the instructional minutes for the high school, which we did implement.
Yeah, it's so we have to calculate a finding, but you guys are basic A, so you have that minimum A guarantee, and I'll honestly, the state hasn't taken it yet. I haven't had this issue impact a basic A district yet, so I imagine the state would. I don't know what they're going to do, but usually with these types of findings, they'll take it from your monthly apportionments. They'll send you an invoice. They usually do it through the monthly apportionment, recoup it that way from February to June, right? They'll reduce it, reduce your apportionment by that. But with your basic aid, honestly, I don't know. I don't know. And Josh and I, we've been talking about it. But it's supposed to be determined. It's supposed to be taken from the state. I have seen them take a couple years to kind of catch up and take that stuff back. But as far as I know, as far as I'm aware, the state should recoup that within a year or two or so.
Thank you. Board, anything further as far as the discussion on this item? Mr. Zielinski, as long as I've been on the board, you've been our auditor. I'm curious, what's typical for an organization as far as just using an auditor, and what's maybe best practice? I have no idea.
Yeah. So school districts have to be audited every year. We are an independent audit firm, right? Josh, there's a couple other firms up and down California. I've been here for 15 years or so, and we've been doing Pacific Grove pretty much for that entire time. I can be on it because I'm not the partner on the job, but the partner on the job has to rotate once every 6 years, right, to get that new partner on the one. So what we'll do is say, okay, you guys really don't ever really see the impact, right? It's mainly just kind of on our side. But it's still the same auditors. It's just the partner, the CPA who is signing it, is that changes. So.
Good to know. Okay. Anything further, or would anyone on the board like to make a motion to accept the 24-25 district financials?
Also move.
Audit.
Accept the audit.
Okay, motion made by Dr. Hazen. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
And a second from Trustee Wax. Thank you. We'll go over to our student trustee vote. Aye. Thank you, Trustee Booker. Student trustee vote aye. All of those on the board remaining in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the motion, no nos, the motion carries 5-0. Thank you for your time and your continued work with our district.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. Thank you.
Okay. Last on the action discussion calendar is our standing item of our proposed board meeting calendar. And Dr. Adamson, this is yours.
Yes, so I think everything stands as is, but I am really pleased to say we have been able to identify one date for our governance session, which was originally scheduled for that second meeting in February until we realized, that's quite a full agenda. So March 26th is what I am proposing to add to our calendar. You've all indicated that's a date that works, so thank you. If you all approve, we will go ahead and add that for governance.
Thank you. And I know the board all weighed in with our availability, and this is what works for us. So thank you all for your commitment to continue with our governance work. Is there any public comment on our board calendar? Seeing none. Board, any further discussion on the calendars proposed or the addition from Dr. Adamson for our governance date? Seeing none. I will go ahead and make a motion to approve our calendar with the addition of our March 26th governance date. Is there a second?
Special meeting.
Which will be a special meeting on March 22nd for the specific purpose of governance. Yes. 26th. Thank you. This is why we're all here. Go team. Okay. I made the motion and the second.
I'll second.
A second from trustee Shamas. We'll go over to our student trustee vote. Aye. Thank you. Student trustee, and then all those in favor on the board?
Aye.
Aye. Any noes? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. On to information and discussion. Item A, and our only substantive item on info discussion this evening is our 26-27 district enrollment projections. Assistant Superintendent George, go ahead.
Thank you, President McNary. And this is on page 360 in the packet, which is the cover page. Presenting tonight the 26-27 enrollment projections. There's quite a few ways that we do enrollment projections. In the past, kind of 2-year, 5-year, and 10-year averages were used. Right now, with our student population, it seems to me that the roll grade version of our enrollment projections is the one that seems to be most accurate. So that's what was used in preparing this item tonight. You'll see on the cover page a 5-year period. They came out of our CBEDS data system with a declining enrollment from 2021 through 24-25. And then in 25-26, again, a decline in enrollment down to 17-12. Slow and steady decline of enrollment, and that's more or less what I'm presenting tonight. Projected total enrollment for 26-27 is 1,699. And I broke it down by school site, by grade level, and number of classes there on page 360. So I'll see for Forest Grove with grade level UPK through 5th grade, a total of 315 students or 15 classes is projected with a grade with an average class size of 21.63. Robert Dow Elementary on page 361. TK through 5th grade, that's 411 students projected at 18 classes. The middle school, we're projecting 404 students for 6th, 7th, and 8th. Pacific Grove High School, 561 students for 9th through 12th. You can see that's kind of an uptick over prior years. And then PG Community High School, 8 students, and again for a total of 1,699 students. I would mention again that as everyone's aware, we're a basic aid district, but the enrollment does help support some of the categorical programs that we receive, as well as ADA, which is crucial. And that's our average daily attendance outside of our enrollment, which is how we are able to recoup some of the categorical funding programs through the state. Again, kind of a steady, slow decline in enrollment, but nothing major. You can recall back to when we did the facilities master plan study and the facilities needs assessment. The team that was in here, MGT, showed us kind of a 10-year snapshot. I'd say that the district is trending a little bit more rural than was presented by MGT with birth rates and so forth. So what we are noticing is that the bubble of cohorts are moving up through middle and high school right now, which eventually we will see a steady drop off and decline in the secondary grade levels, but we're not realizing that in the 26-27 year. So with that, I will open it for questions.
Thank you for the presentation, which all the information is also in our packet, and I will go out to public comment on our enrollment projections for next year. Comment in the room, and seeing none online, let's bring it back to the board for any questions or discussion. Trustee Shamas.
Yeah, I think we should talk about, what do we want to do anything about this, or, do we have like a number that we don't want to go below, or, it's just, we're just watching it steadily drop, so is there something to do about that or not?
Yeah, I mean, I'll make a comment on that just a bit, because I agree with that. I think it would be dangerous to put a number we don't want it to go below, but we may want to have some trigger points where we say, if we drop below this number, here are some things we might want to consider, whether it's recruitment or whether it's offerings and things like that, because it is something we need to adjust to. One thing I've said before is, to me, it's really important for us to be asking those folks that are leaving the district why they're leaving. I don't know if that is something that has been successful, and if we're getting some of that information, we could have a discussion on that, because I think being able to understand that sometimes it's going to be jobs, sometimes it's going to be cost of living, geopolitics, whatever. But if there's things that we are doing that are not serving our community, I think it's critical for us to be aware and document.
We have that data that we collect, annually. In fact, we looked at that, very deeply. Thank you to Director Binder, who was able to gather that for us last year for us to get a sense. So it really was, we had a good idea of, and it's a variety of different reasons, for families leaving, middle of the year, right? When I say middle of the year, between their K-12 who've been attending with us. And I think that was helpful to see, because I think there was a little bit of that narrative out there, but students are leaving, in the middle school, high school, and really that's not what the data was necessarily showing. There was a few who were maybe moving on to private schools for offerings, that kind of thing, but there definitely was a general sort of uptick in families just indicating that it was just becoming difficult to afford, right, living in this community. But definitely, I think, as Assistant Sup John mentioned, when we did that facilities study, last year, when the company came into, they looked at that report as the future trends, and really what we're seeing is just, fewer. The decrease we're seeing is actually at the younger ages, right? We have fewer families with younger students moving into our community, so we're seeing, in future projections, just fewer TK and kindergarten students coming in. So that's really where we're noticing it. In fact, Assistant Sup John was saying, as we're looking at the numbers for the next couple of years, high school numbers are looking at actually increasing as our middle school, right? We've got doubles of students moving up. So that's not necessarily a similar decrease, right? It really is at our elementary levels for incoming, our youngest learners. Yeah. Anything to add to that, Assistant Sup John? Yeah.
That's perfect. I mean, I build in escalators into the assumptions on 1, 2, 3-year averages and so forth. And actually, at most grade levels, we're seeing above 100%, which means that we're actually seeing more students move from grade level than we had in prior years, right? So that's promising. It's that lower grade, the lower grade level cohort level that is starting to affect the district enrollment. But the increase, that over 100%, right, in cohort moving, it's, we anticipate some drop off, but what we haven't been seeing is drop off from grade level to grade level, grade level to grade level. We've been seeing an increase from like 8th to 9th grade with new students coming in, but we've been seeing a decrease in TK, kinder, and so forth. So.
And as long as, I know we have some more fun budget meetings coming forward, so this would be a good opportunity for us to think about shifts in staffing, reflecting that as well, or whatever needs to be to get rates on.
Yes, and by percentages, I'd say this district's declining enrollment is a lot more level or stable than any district around us. There's a much higher level of percentage decline across the board at all grade levels throughout the county than we're experiencing.
I do just want to add to that as well. I think, that was evident last night at the NCOE's, meeting. The staff, presented sort of just an overarching picture about the entire county. And they are showing those declining significant numbers that neighboring districts are looking at, and significant deficit spending that you're seeing across all districts as well, significant numbers. And that was in relation to the fact, that's one of the reasons the board voted that charter petition down, right? It's going to be really taking, funding from schools who are already in declining enrollment and increasing deficit spending.
I'd like to know what are the possibilities of increasing enrollment, let's say, because I know that right now, if you're an employee, right, and you work so many hours for us, your kids can come to our district. So that's one. And I'd just like to know if there's any other small things like that that are possible. Just as a way of having that information, like not that we need to do anything with it, but I'd just like to know. And one thing I'm thinking of is like, okay, we have the UPK, and that is open to anyone that's in there. I mean, they don't have to be a PG resident. So, you could offer those if you start with us, you stay with us. I mean, and I'm just throwing that out there, but I'm just thinking that it'd be good to have some ideas about what's possible that we might entertain just in our back pocket so that maybe, we can look at that.
I love the idea of the creative thinking. I think we absolutely have to be thinking along those lines, Trustee Shamas. I think the challenge we've got to be aware of as we're looking at any possibilities is the fact as a basic aid district, but that really sort of restricts us in ensuring that, yes, I mean, there is language, right, that's very specific to that in our board policy. And I think, Assistant John can speak to this better than I can, but, the moment we even open up, we've been approached by members of the city, employees of the city asking, could that be a possibility? They would love to have their children, coming to our district. But, again, it's all about how we would, we define those parameters. And once you open it to, I think it would be very difficult to open it to one set of employees versus others. I mean, we always talk then about Pebble Beach Company as an example, right, which is a huge, I don't know, I'll let Assistant Soup speak to that.
Yeah, I do know that, I'm sorry, thank you, Dr. Adamson. At one point, the district and the board had entertained implementing the island rule in this district, which is something that some basic aid districts have implemented. And that essentially opens up the district boundary to any entity any families that work for a business within the boundary area. And that would complicate enrollment dramatically for our district, specifically because of one of the largest employers in our area being the Pebble Beach Company. So we had this discussion. We've had it for a couple of years now with the city, opening up to say Monterey Fire, Monterey P. That was the discussion initially for them to help recruit folks to our area so that their students can attend. The legal path may be a little bit difficult for us because it would open it up to every business in the boundary area.
And those are just things to just talk about. But I would like to know, just since we have had a longstanding policy about the employees, it'd be interesting to know how that has impacted us. How have we absorbed those students? It seems that we've done it quite well. So, it would be interesting to me and hopefully the rest of the board to know, okay, here's something we did and it's worked. And how many people took advantage of it?
Just to frame that, I think we have around it's about 86 intra-district transfers right now that are employee intra-district transfers, which is quite a few. Yeah. And it does fluctuate every year because I see this because they have to fill it out every single year. But it's grown since I've been here.
Mm-hmm.
Board, anything additional with regard to discussion of our enrollment projections? Just something to keep in mind as we head into our budget study session is the numbers that we're seeing and how those are going to impact us as we have to make some tough decisions in the coming months. Thank you, Assistant Superintendent Jorn. And I think there's something to be said, we're all kind of in the same boat together. We're not special in that we have declining enrollment and budget issues right now, but we do have an obligation to look into it, as trustee Shamas said, and see what we can do.
One other thing is,
Yeah.
I mean, I think the housing element is now finalized, and so there are 1,125 housing units that are allocated for that we're supposed to build in the next few years. So that would be great.
Point
Is,
yeah. The light.
Light at the end, exactly, right? Yep.
Thanks for bringing that up, trustee Wax. I don't, before I went to the board, I think so. At least I'm trying to, but thank you for checking always. Staff, do you have enough direction? Board, are you in favor of kind of looking into our policy that we've had with regard to employees and their dependents attending the district, and kind of just getting a look at maybe the info and the numbers to see, is that kind of what you're thinking, trustee Shamas, or you want to frame it a little bit more so we're
I mean, I don't know where to put it exactly in terms of an agenda item or maybe I'll just leave that to the super.
Could definitely be part of our, budgetary discussion is what I'm thinking, as a part of the study session for next week. We could, bring that in as a component of what we address. And then from there, if there's something more specific and, specific data that's being requested, we can talk about that.
Yeah, it can be like an end of the year type of, something. Yeah.
I like that,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah, all right. We can add that.
yeah, just so we have a data point and know where we're trending. I like that idea too.
In terms of the legality that Josh was mentioning, so could we not stipulate that we could open up enrollment for governmental agencies and like municipal government employees or PG, PD and fire as opposed to just any local business?
I don't know if that's been explored. So we'd have to get back to you on that. I think we need a legal opinion on that one. If the board were to have its own policy or amended policy to identify certain, that's a legal question we have to get back to the board on.
I'd just be curious because I'm a curious guy.
Can I ask our student rep a question? Okay, so the number of kids at the high school. It's too small? What do you think?
Yes, coming from a student who plays sports, especially, we have very low students. I think for sports wise, I think many students are going to Stevenson because they want to get recruited for sports, or they go to Carmel because many people in middle school, I know at least 5 people in my grade and 8th grade all went to either Stevenson or Carmel because they wanted to get recruited for sports.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and just informationally, I don't know a bunch of my daughter's friends when she was going, or a few when she was going from 8th to 9th, went to Morehouse partially because of the increased course offerings, which is again just something that hurts us as a small district. But that's another one that we do an amazing job with what we have, but it's hard to keep up.
And I just remind us, these are discussions we're having in a time of deficit spending, right? And I think this will be a part of our discussions as we talk about that next Thursday night, right? I think what we've also got to keep in mind is that more students doesn't equate to more funding, right? And it's just, it depletes morale. We have a bucket of funding as a basic aid district. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, right, in a weird way. But
housing
you've got to keep in mind. Exactly. That is the one piece that actually will bring in more funding. You're absolutely right, Trustee Wax. So, definitely we've got to keep that in mind. Yeah. Once we have more data on that would be helpful for our future projections as well. Yeah.
Okay, board, last item on our agenda, future agenda items. Does anyone have anything to add at this time? I see no movement. I'll go to public comment really quickly. No public comment.
I just had a question. What's on our future agenda item list as it stands?
I think it's the last page in our packet, and right now what I see, the only one item there is the district reserve policy, which will be part of, I believe, not, is it budget or is it going to be policy committee? Budget committee?
That would be the policy committee.
Gotcha.
That's all that's on there now?
Yes,
So we had quite a few.
No, I was like, I thought there was more.
Okay, we did have more, but we normally keep them on for a couple of months and kind of give indicators of have we addressed them, and then once we've addressed them, we'll keep it on, and then then
I just think it's the shortest I've ever seen it.
well, it's because we're working through them as we go.
I just wanted to make sure that was
Right now, the one item that was just presented now, just a discussion on creative ways to look at increasing enrollment and how we can look at that. So that will definitely be one. But I like the idea of doing that at the end of the school year. Yeah, I think the timing on that feels right. Yeah.
Okay. If there is nothing further from the board, I am going to adjourn our meeting for this evening. Our next special board meeting will be next week on January 22nd, 2026. That will be our budget study session, and next regular meeting on February 5th, 2026. And with that, we are adjourned.